Take you a second anyways. Give me a chance to hit the button over here to get my chat thingy started. That's weird. It's not working. Oh, there it goes. About to have myself a heart attack over here. Oh my god. You got sound? That's good. Yeah, as long as I can keep my voice. I don't know what's going on. Let's squish this thing and make it happen. All right, let's go. Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL. And I don't know why, but I think we got a little extra lag going on here today. Like I can actually see it in my first camera, which is like different from the what YouTube has for me. So I don't know what's going on, but we'll kind of live with this. See how it goes. Okay, so if everybody remembers, last week I made this cool bracelet over here. And if you watch the after shortened up version, you could actually see the whole thing finished. So what I wanted to do this week was kind of a little less focus on how we got it started. If you needed to see how to start one of these things, go back to last week's video. I kind of explained it pretty good there. But now we're going to go for a double wide, and I'm going to show you some stuff that involved with that. So, and kind of bear with me if my voice seems a little off. I think allergies are going on. Today's weather got kind of weird, and it's got my sinuses, my eyes and stuff really going crazy. So we'll kind of deal with it. All right. So what I've done was I already got this a little bit started. I already got the whole other side done. And essentially, this is exactly the same start as we did here. The only real difference is there was twice as much string involved, and that's why we're able to do two sides to this. So there's twice as much string in my loop. Now, whether you kumi it or whether you do the macrame or just a simple braid, however you make your loop, that's completely doesn't matter. It doesn't affect this one way or the other. So do whichever is most comfortable for you. And then just know that if you want to make a twice as big bracelet, you just need twice as much string, right? That's kind of easy enough to go by. And one of the things you're going to find when trying to do this particular pattern, what I'm doing here today, is that having the single bracelet actually kind of helps out. And I say that because what seems like this is such an easy bracelet to make. There's so unlikely. Oops, sorry, let me get that out of the way. So unlikely to make real mistakes with it in the singular. But once it goes to double, something weird happens. And that's kind of the whole gist of today's video, is that showing you how doubling this particular pattern is a little bit goofy. And I can tell you from my own personal experience that without concentrating or without having the single to look at, it would be really easy to make a mistake on this. And yeah, kind of here to try to help keep that from happening, right? So yeah. So basically, this going in part, it is exactly the same. We're just going to the end, and the dark string is going to be what boxes in, just like how this one was. However, this time when we box in over on this side, that's going to connect to the other green and join these two sides together. So that's kind of neat. Yeah, so I tried to take last week's video. I don't know if you guys saw it. Did you guys see it? The video of me trying to make a shortened like tutorial actual video where I actually showed the directions of the knots and all that stuff. I think it kind of came out kind of cool, except for shortened from a 2 hour live down to a 40-minute video, which did not really truly feel that shortened at the end of the day. So yeah. All right. Oh, and I think I kind of explained last time too. Knowing the numbers, like how many knots should be involved each time, um, I can't express how much this means when you're doing um, these kind of bracelets in a faded color. So, as you know, the next project on the board will be a pillow, and the colors are really, really close. So I'm kind of foreshadowing what we're gonna see later on. Ah, one of the strings didn't pull right. Hang on. There it goes. I appreciate watching it just to boost the watch time. That really is pretty awesome. Okay, so there we have it. We have the one on the right done. So let's join these two pieces together. Now, instead of just joining it when you only have a chevron, I like to join it when you have at least this much done, because that way, as I do the part in between it, it really causes the whole bracelet to kind of gel and stay together better. So, and the first knot is the important one because you need it to really pull the two halves inwards. And yeah, if you don't get that one right, it seems to be a mess. There we go. And so now this is going to come down, and as you can kind of picture, right? That's the same as the one over on the other side. Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Winter. All right, now we'll go to the other side. Now this area that we're working in, we only got to see part of it on the smaller bracelet. But we know that it essentially has the light color going all the way out and across. So all we have to make sure we do is bring the light color all the way to the outside, which is easy enough. But that white color is going to have to go over top of the dark green, right? In order for it to be able to join up. So if we did it just like this, and we didn't add in the one on this side, we would end up with this side being one short, and then you'd have a series of little knots there that you had to work out. So to avoid having that for a problem or potentially messing us up because we don't correct it like we're supposed to, we'll get this out of the way first, right? Because at the bottom of this will be the dark green kind of one single knot. All right. Now I can go and do these. So this light color one will meet up with the light color ones that come out from the other sides. Now, mind you, I know there's like so many different variations that you can do on this thing. I just kind of wanted to show what happens if you strictly go with the concept that you're just doubling the pattern. Because I've seen some cool variations. I've seen where instead of just going and doing it like once, they'll repeat certain colors 3, 4, 5 times, which I'm sure probably started out as somebody made a mistake and then decided to run with it and decided, hey, you know what, that actually looks pretty cool. Which I think that's how most good bracelets probably originated. Hey, Amanda made it. And you're earlier than you expected. All right. So those both go to the outside, and obviously when the other ones join in, that'll be a thing. So let's go ahead and just try to stick with this one area. Make these two sides completely joined. And we'll go from there. Yeah, so yeah, it does. It does. It stops being fish when it goes double. That's the thing. So that's what we're kind of getting at here. We're almost to the point where that becomes evident. It makes it so that way there's like two sets of rows of the same thing going on, where you don't have that in the single, but it changes in the double. Now, mind you, for the pillow that I'm doing, I'm essentially taking this smaller bracelet over here and I'm multiplying it by 24. So comes out to 288 strings, which if you know your math, that's twice gross. So yeah, double gross. But yeah, so what will happen is you'll end up with this one row here, which has the same exact thing with the colors as what will be in the row after it. So it looks like you're doubling each of these different rows or whatever, but that's not what it looks like when in the singular. In the singular, it just seems like it's one fish after the other. And that, I think, kind of increases the difficulty, um, only because it doesn't feel intuitive as to when you make the color changes and why having the single one off to the side to make sure that you're keeping everything exactly like it sort of makes sense. It kind of helps to, make sure that you're not tripling it accidentally or something. Right? It is double gross. 144 times 2. There's 288 strings. It's crazy. And the sad thing is I can't really call it a big project after all that was what the other one was. I should have called that thing Giant Project or something. Because it still seems when you have to start, just to start the project, you have to cut 96 skeins. Still seems like a lot. I mean, really, that's just, I don't know, that kind of blows my mind. So what you can't see is that I'm kind of laying these strings off to the side onto the end of one of these clips. It just kind of keeps things out of the way because obviously I don't need those strings again until I get to another part of the bracelet or whatever. So there's no need to be handling them, and just having them out of the way just is really super convenient. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a thesaurus out and take a look and find other alternative words for big, so I can find cool names for the other projects. All right, now I can bring this down. Yeah, see, but then I made big was like big was is already gone. I can't call like the pillow gigantic because it's not bigger than the big one. I should have called the big one gigantic. That's it. Right. Yeah. Well, always felt like it was sort of like I didn't want to like toot my own horn. Like it's a big project. I didn't want to like be like it's the biggest ever, like the car salesman guys on TV or something. Fairly large. Yeah. I mean, the big project was big by my standards. I mean, I've done a lot of bags that were, respectable kind of numbers, like a 400 string bag. That seemed pretty big. It's my biggish project. I'll be working on a biggish. Yeah. So this little space over here, this is exactly like the one we have on the smaller bracelet that I'm working on. The one in the center is one that's sort of implied by the two sides, but that you don't actually see. And now we can bring this side down. Now, mind you, we're still haven't even completed the whole fish area, right? So this diamond will get to be the same as what this diamond was. And that's where, like Amanda was saying, the fish thing kind of disappears and it looks like two rows, which is so strange. Like this was one of the things I discovered when I first tried to double it and was like, well, that's just less fun. Almost as big. No, it's not even close. 200, 288 strings versus 866. Like this pillow is going to be like it's tiny by comparison, really. I'm working on a tiny, huge project. That's it. A biggish small, smallishly big. I don't know. There's got to be something out there that's. Oh, Amanda, we went to Daiso the other day and we only saw um, the embroidery floss in pastel colors, and I was if they had the regular color ones, I might have actually picked up enough to do a pillow out of that, which would have been awkward. Me trying to be in the store trying to work out the math as to how many of the packets of floss needed to do it, but they only had the pastel ones, and those aren't quite as much fun. Well, okay, so big project didn't feel freakishly huge until after the whole thing was done, and then I got the piece of wood that I'm going to use to help mount it on the wall. That's when it kind of hit me how absolutely huge it was, because on the board's perspective, it was just kind of really long and kept, taking up a lot of my desk, which was sort of annoying or whatever. But height wise, it was only a couple feet. So yeah. Yeah, I didn't actually look at the price of the pastel ones because it was sort of, I don't know, they just, the regular dozen, like what I made my first bag out of, I would have totally gone for doing another pillow out of that. Because the plus side to that is at least Mandy doesn't have to try to kumi it. The strings are terrible because they grab on each other. So every time you like lift up, like to do a knot like this, it's pulling the rest of the bunch with them. It's, I know a lot of you guys are nowhere near a Daiso, but we have like a $2 store, which is now $2.14 store. Um, that it's, I guess it's sort of like a regular dollar store kind of thing. It just costs a little bit more. Um, but it's stuff out of Japan, and their embroidery floss is not as nice. It's cool colors or whatever. It didn't, you know, run or anything else when getting them wet, but it's just a lot more difficult to work with. That's kind of cool, Winter. That's nice when you get to actually run around flaunting your wares. I always have my like bracelets and stuff. So I've got like 3 bracelets on. I got one, this is the Rainbow Haze made, one I made, and one that uh Minute Minute Craft. Oh, I didn't do the thing. Hey, secret word game still going on, guys. What a way to remember that one. So Minute Craft has donated one of the bracelets, the top one there, and it's still up for grabs if somebody figures out the magic word. Wow, I'm really slacking here. We're how many minutes into it? Almost a half hour in? Yikes. So this part is actually kind of nice because it's a continuation. I'm able to do one nice long row without too much problems. Um, and you can see on the right hand side of this thing, you can see that we're almost done with the whole fish area. I'll hit the other side here just so we have it all in. And you can see how it turns into almost like a double row instead. So, as if as if I wanted to make life a little bit more difficult on myself, what I'm going to do on the first pillow, which I think that's basically what we're going to go with calling the project. It's the first of my pillows. Um, I'm gonna make it different than this. My idea is that each square, from here to here and then here to here, each one be its own diamond, its own whatever color. The problem in doing that is if you're going to change up every single time, then you have to have the row below it completed, so that way you don't run into the same thing I was talking about over here, where you don't, like if you're missing the one dark color, then when you make out your shape, you're missing one knot, so then you have to do a bunch off to the side in order to make up for it. It's mildly annoying, but it's not impossible. And what the problem is, of course, is you really have to be paying attention when all the colors are so close, and the oranges really are that close. They're even worse than what these greens are, as far as the how close, like the shading or whatever goes. So yeah, it's kind of a trick. Where is it? I forgot to turn the stupid music on. Really? So basically the colors are going to go like this one did. So the top box was red, the next one was orange, then a lighter orange, then yellow, then green, then blue, then purple, then the violety one, and then back to the red again. So it's each one is sort of alternating down as it goes. And that's what we're going to do for the next project. Because to do these double rows, it'd be real easy to mess up and do a triple. And like I said, I think when I see the patterns and people have done 3 in a row or whatever, I think it just looks like they made a mistake and ran with it. And that's fine. That's how a lot of really cool patterns and stuff get started, is that you don't want to back out because you've already done a bunch of work. And so you kind of run with it as a new thing, and it's cool. It looks awesome. We're allowed to do that kind of stuff. I also have a way that I'm going to break up the pattern on the first pillow. I want to, well, I can't give clues on Secret Word Game. This one's just way too easy. One wrong word and just, it's super easy. Anyways, so yeah, because there's going to be 24 bracelets wide, I'm going to make a little row in it where they're like going the opposite direction, just to kind of break it up. I'm trying to channel my inner designer creativity, and it should make it really kind of neat, because it'll be so different. And yet, well, all the strings on this particular pattern, because they are only going to the left or to the right, normal or backwards, if you prefer that methodology, because they only go left and right, every string starts out and goes to the side and bounces, and it goes all the way through every single time. Like this light colored one came all the way down, gets to this edge, and it comes back this way, and it'll go all the way till it gets to this edge and come back. There is no change ups for it. That's exactly how it works. So when you can make some minor changes, as long as that thread is still going in the same direction, it'll do the thing. It's just how it works. It's not going to take that long. Everybody's complaining about how hot it is today. Rainbow was saying something earlier about the heat. Yeah, ours was 35 with a feels like 42 or something weird. Or 40, 47 with a feels like 47. So yeah, sweaty, muggy, rotten, soggy yuckies. Ah, poor Rainbow. Yeah, it gets pretty intense here. It's tropical rainforest stuff, so mixed with city. So yeah, it's pretty. Bleh. And Mandy spent the day baking, so go figure. Which, by the way, why did you not do the other bars?
Because the tray still has the other.
I took care of that today. If you'd said something, I'd include the tray sooner. And believe it or not, our father-in-law still has to close the windows before going to bed. As warm as it is, he can't leave that window open. Yeah, I feel you, Winter. Maybe that's why online shopping is all the rage. You can get whatever you like from the comfort of your own home. You don't even have to go and be around other people. It's wonderful. So let's see, we're a little bit more than like 38 minutes in, and you can see how far we've progressed with this. So it's a really easy pattern. It doesn't take a whole lot to accomplish it. I definitely suggest playing around with the possibilities because there are so many different ways that you can do it. Um, and they all come out pretty cool. Here, I'll do the outline here just to kind of show it. So it's technically it's the two fish side by side, but really because it makes up the other sets of diamonds, it really loses the whole idea of the fish in the thing. And the fact that it seems that the row is doubled also seems a bit weird. It does, you know, because like I said, it just doesn't feel like it's doubled up on the first one. So now, no matter which row we go to next, we have to bring the next color all the way out to the center. So that way the light color stops being the most dominant. So what kind of a tattoo are you hoping to get? Like the Friday the 13th kind of thing? Like what is his name? Jason or whatever the mask dude is? I don't think I've ever actually watched one of the movies, to be honest. Are our tattoos, do we have any that were impulsive? Not really, right? We've pretty much, most of our stuff was pretty well planned out. Like we knew we were going on vacation, we knew we were going to get stuff. The elephant was like the most whimsical, but we knew we wanted the elephant for the Thailand thing.
Yeah.
He almost like tried to talk us out of it, and in the last minute we're like, well, you know, we really wanted to do an elephant. Hang on, I'll whip something together, and bam, next thing you know, we have elephants. Yeah, I'm already planning out the next time I go to Thailand what my next tattoo will be. My stepson says if you can count your tattoos, you're not really inked. He is so covered. I think he's got one arm that's not yet, but most of his body. He's even got like a cluster of crystals on his neck. It's crazy. So you can see now we're into the second color, but the second color is really close to the first color. I'm telling you, doing a fade on these is a lot more difficult, I guess. I mean, it's not really difficult. It's just, you really just have to pay closer attention to what you're doing. Because if you don't, you'll cross the line of where you're supposed to go to, and that will that'll mess everything up. Ooh, Amanda, that sounds awesome. So one of the tattoos I'd really like to do is, I have this pattern that I always kind of go with, and I kind of want it to look like a part of my skin is torn away on my arm, and the underneath is my bracelet pattern. Yeah, we know a guy that does like sacred geometry and mandalas and that kind of stuff. Like that's his specialty. I am so tempted in getting something on the back of my neck done by him. Plus, it'd give me a great reason to go back to the same area again where they have some of my favorite foods. There's a vegan, is it vegan burger or no? Just vegetarian. Vegetarian burger, I guess. That were absolutely out of this world. Plus, they do the cashew chicken so good. Oh man, I love that stuff. Hello, fancy girl. So this area that we're on is just inside of this area right here of the first bracelet. So this is, again, it's not even the square part. This is just what's kind of alluded to on the sides. Is Granny Smith a crochet thing or is it an Apple thing? Apple, okay. All right, good night, Winter. Or good morning, I guess. You're that side of the world. All right. This is coming along pretty well. And let's bring this down. Mind you, I could have continued over on the left-hand side of this whole bracelet at this point, but by at least bringing down this here, it's just a little easier to kind of visualize where I'm at, and it kind of helps me to not make the kind of mistakes that I know that this pattern could do. Like, it'd be real easy to go into this next diamond here, and if it went all the way out to the very edge and covered up this light color, that would be wrong, and you would have to take a number of knots out. So like I said, this pattern, you really kind of have to pay attention, and that's why having the single off to the side really does sort of help. It's good to see that you're back to being able to stitch again. So that's fine. You stitch away. Recently, Rainbow was not feeling well and was stuck in bed where stitching was not conducive. So the fact that you're back to stitching means that at least you're doing better. I know this guy that does tattoos down at the East Coast area. He used to be our neighbor up here before he moved, and his work is amazing. He can do like realistic pet images and stuff. He's done dogs and tigers and all kinds of animal stuff where it comes out at you 3D-ish. So dope. The other thing is when you do this, let's say if you replaced all these colors with a rainbow, it is a little bit easier to spot where a particular row should end. Like when it's a fade like this, I often use a number like system, like it's never more than 4 knots on the side, because it's 4, then 3, 2, 1. When it's a rainbow, being able to stop, knowing where to stop based on the color is just a bit easier. So if you're kind of new to this sort of thing, the fade is a little bit more advanced. So start with, colors that the sequence well, like a rainbow. That totally works out. Okay, so that's the whole lower area we have of the second grouping. Now to do the next part of it. Some of you may have remembered I have talked about the fact that I try to start my day with cycling, and that after having had COVID, it's I have not been quite myself for a while now. But today I managed to do a pretty respectable 45 kilometer. So I am definitely getting back to being in shape or whatever. So yeah. Oh, and so we're down to 3 of the limited edition bracelets. So let's see. So we still have 3 left. So anybody that's watching this when it's no longer the live video, you can still get a hold of me. I'm not putting them into the shop because that's just more work. But yeah, there's still 3 left. Yeah, not bad. I think somebody with broken English tried to tell me the other day that I think it was basically implying that can't be trusted not to make more. Like, it's cool if these were, you know, gonna really truly be the last ones, but mind you, it was really bad English. Like, I'm guessing English can't be the first language, because I wasn't really sure what they were saying, but I think that's possibly what they were implying. So, and I get it, you know, there's a lot of bad people out there that do whatever. For as far as I'm concerned, like this particular group, if I can't, you know, just do 6 bracelets and say I won't never do them again, and then not be able to keep my word, like that would mean my word has 0 value. So I don't know. I can't just say something like that and then not follow through. It just, yeah. Same as if I told somebody I'm going to help them, you know, that I mean what I say. I do what I say. So it is what it is. Oh, speaking of interesting comments, somebody else was like, oh my God, I can't believe you put the big project into a washing machine. So yeah, about that, I totally put it in the washing machine. I totally knew that it wouldn't be an issue. And I teach what I teach because I know what I'm teaching to be true. I know that when you add strings the way that I add strings, you don't have to worry about it coming apart in a washing machine. That's how much I know what I do, right? And that's why I'm like eager to inspire other people to, you know, create and to follow what I teach, because I know it works. Like there was never a question like, can you imagine putting 9 months of work into a washing machine and not having faith that it would survive it? That just doesn't. Yeah, I'm done with that pattern big time. Mind you, I have considered the possibility of playing around with like making a bag, but not using that pattern. That pattern was 3 colors, then the one in the center, and then 3 colors. I was thinking that if I were to increase those numbers and make it like either a 414 or a 515, the intricacy of the pattern itself could be made to be really, really crazy. Like I could really do something to where the 2 sides were completely different in a weird sort of interesting way, you know, tiled and whatever. So I would use the knowledge I gained from that pattern and use that for something, but it would be a whole new pattern unto itself and more complex. And yeah, but no, I'm done with that, the whole, that color scheme, the whole, even just doing the bracelets. It was just, oh God, just happy to be done with it. Yeah, yeah. It's, I guess it's hard to imagine for people who have never, I don't know. Like I this isn't the first time I've added knots. It's not the first time that I've made intensive whatevers. Like my very first bag has been through the washing machine half dozen times or more. And it was the cheapest floss, and I have faith that it's not going anywhere because like the kind of work that I put into it, what I do, is, I know I have faith in it. Not a man a faith in it, just faith. Oh, you guys are missing out on the possible Mandy cam right there. I actually got her laughing that time. That was good. Ah. But that's kind of, I guess that kind of leans into like why I want to teach, is because I've done this long enough. I've acquired enough knowledge. I've seen a lot of different ways of doing things. And I started out before there was the internet and patterns on the internet and stuff. And that I feel like some of what I have to teach, like how to do it, double a pattern and what comes from it, and how you can then even change it once it becomes a double, is stuff that like people should at least be able to hear it once and make up their own minds. Like I said, like this way, it, to me, it looks like there's 2 rows of each of these colors, which isn't bad. It's exactly the double of this. But once it's doubled, a whole other world of possibilities kind of open up to it. And unless somebody actually tells you that, it might not come naturally, you know? So I'm here to let you know, you can be creative. You can change these things and try alternative ways and make it your own. And, you know, you justify it how you want to. You could do it where one side, the diamonds are going the opposite direction. Like, I don't know where last week's alternative version of this went to. But the other one was where you start out with a single dot and then the chevrons go the opposite direction, right? You could do one side one way and the other side the other, you know? Then you have to kind of decide how you're going to do the middles, but, you know, the possibility of being able to do something like that is there. You just have to work out what kind of rules you're going to go by and then stick to it. And it'll turn out amazing. So we're approaching the end of the second color. It's turning out not half bad. That's nice. That's awesome. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, this is why that's why I wanted to do this one. Because it is very easy to make a mistake on this. It's, you know, the fact that I haven't is because I'm really trying super hard, because I know how easy it is to make a mistake on this one. But yeah, I'm honored that you would be, you know, inspired by me. That's totally awesome. There you go. Tubes are great. Tubes are a lot of fun, because especially with this kind of a pattern where it's in the squares, because you can rotate it and then just work on a square at a time. This is a great pattern for a tube. Honestly, basically, if you for anybody else who's watching this and doesn't know what we're talking about, when we were back here and I did this one here in the center to join these two pieces together to make a tube, you would then fold this in half and get to the other side, and then these two pieces on the sides here, they too would have made a diamond, and that would have made the whole thing rotatable as a cube. And oftentimes I try to find something that I can put in the inside to kind of hold it steady while I have it on my clipboard. I've used anything from pencils to chopsticks. As they get bigger though, you end up, you know, just a bit of cardboard from like a cereal box or something can work to kind of hold it together, you know, or hold it in place while you work on it. But yeah, it's my original thought was, you know, having a tube like bracelet would mean that you could stick a bit of money in there and you could go off to your, you know, party or rave or whatever, and always make sure that you had like taxi fare to get back home. You know, you could lose everything else, have, you know, be mugged or whatever, but nobody's going to steal a cloth bracelet off you. You know, nobody's going to see it as being of value. And in there would secretly be at least the money to get home with. You know, that was my thought when I first did it. Since then, I discovered you can go really big tubes and now you got a bag. So, you know, or a phone case, or in this case, this was a glasses case. So this one is a tube as well, and it made it for a really nice glasses case. All right. Now see again, you have to double check, you know, right? Or where we are with this compared to with this one. We've already finished both of the sets. Now it's time to change the colors again. It'd be really easy to stop and let this lighter color go one more time, but that would be a mistake. So can you pass me that can? So wait, you want a bracelet you can fit a whole jar? You mean something big like that? Because yes, this too is a tube of bracelet. Fit a whole, yes. Yes, you can do it. And as a matter of fact, I have at least a couple, 2 of them here? At least 2. I think the third one went to live in America. You guys are silly. Anyways. So you might have noticed that despite whatever, I'm basically sticking to a relative segment knotting here. Mostly because it's easier with this pattern anyways, but just because it's easier in general. It's and whenever possible, do like long rows all at once. That totally pays out. Not actually having difficulty because at some point I think I lost you guys, unless you're talking about Johnny Depp and his jar of dirt. Which, okay. Make a bracelet big enough for his jar of dirt. I think that'd be the bucket bag at 400 strings. Got it. It'd be so cool, like if I actually made something that like Johnny Depp used. That would be dope. There we go. That must be why I'm missing part of the. Yeah, and if you notice, I had to actually turn the app off. I had WhatsApp open on the computer, and because I'm using the computer to do the background music, the notifications are probably coming through as well. So yeah. Swimming to Singapore. That's a long swim. All right. Good night, Amanda. I'm kind of pleased with how this is kind of chugging along right here. Mind you, I've had a bit of practice, so, you know, I didn't expect it to be a trouble or anything. I don't know what that word is. Chows? Chows? We're using an inhaler. No need for you guys to see me sticking plastic in my nose. I think it does. I don't think we'll ever know because lurkers be lurking. They never like. Oh, I know. Marco! See, no polo. But one things I can point out in a bracelet like this is that sometimes the easy way to see whether or not you got everything going right is when, like in this, or the grouping before, there was only one of the little dots in the center, and this time it's gotten a little bit bigger. But the problem in using that as gauging as to whether or not you're getting it right is the fact that you've done so much work up into that point that if that's how you're trying to keep track of things, it's going to be really a hard road for you, because you're going to make a mistake, and it won't be until you're down there at the end that you actually notice it, and then you'll be like, oh, nope, that ain't right. So again, it's kind of helpful to have the single version of it in sight, or to develop a sense of what is supposed to happen. You know, if you can anticipate what it's supposed to be doing and follow along with that. Yeah. Again, it's kind of hard to describe this if you're really a beginner. Like I said, the lighter colors like this are a little bit hard, or the faded colors like this, it's a little bit harder to do. But when you get tired of just doing a single bracelet, there's always doubling it. And once doubling it becomes kind of natural, then turning it into a tube. And then when that becomes easy, then going for bigger projects like bags and stuff. I don't know a single person who has ventured into making a bag and completing it saying, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. Everybody that does it ends up being incredibly proud of what they made. And yeah, I not a single one has been like, nope, waste of string, I ended up with it. You know, it's not like that at all. It feels cool, and it's nice to have. No, I wouldn't imagine that most people who are just getting into, you know, when you first make a bag or whatever, I certainly, after my first bag, I wasn't like, oh, now I'm a bag maker. That didn't happen. I made the first bag, and then I came up with a clever idea of how I was going to make the base different, and I didn't have the money for the string or whatever. But so I got BC Hands, talked to her about doing a collab with her to make another bag. She sent me all the floss I needed, and I made something with a ridiculous spiral base to it, and that went off to some nice girl in Texas. That was pretty insane. Like, honestly, I just felt like I knew that I could do a thing, and with string that I didn't even buy myself, I went and ventured into the complete unknown and made a spiral base. So then after that, talked to a friend who saw the pictures or whatever of that one, said she was interested in something, spent a better part of a day with Photoshop changing up colors and going in different rainbows and around and around and around with her until she settled on a pattern. And I did a different base on that one that came out spectacular. That was completely off the hook. So that, and then after that I ended up making Mandy another bag. Yeah. But at no point was I like, oh, I'm not making bracelets anymore. I'm making bags. Some point in there, somewhere along the lines, I got commissioned to make a number of bags for a shop, which, again, that was ridiculous. That was 6 bags and 2 bracelets to every one bag. Yeah. Mandy carries a bag pretty much anytime she ever goes out. And there's a couple that I've made that she, you know, just tosses her stuff in and away she goes. And they've held up for years and years now. Heck, the round one seems like it's only just becoming, you know, slightly broken in at this point. So yeah. I've got a shrink appointment this week for the keep me on my medications and whatnot, and I'm planning on bringing along the big project because there's a postal machine in the same place where my doctor's appointment is. So I get to weigh out my bag and I get to show her that I'm crazy. So, you know. Because one thing to say I do bizarre fun stuffs. It's another to be able to yank out something that's, you know, more than 1.5 meters wide versus, you know. Well, in the song, They're Coming to Take Me Away, talks about, you know, they put them in with the basket weavers. So it would be that much different. Well, the one thing, the reason too behind showing her the work is when I tell her that there are days where I know that there's, you know, sizable improvement, and other days where they're not. Showing that work can explain how I can definitively know there's a difference. If I can complete entire huge chunks on a good day and barely accomplish a couple squares on a bad day, there is something that actually quantifies the difference between the days. Ideally, I would love if the medication could be tweaked to where every day was a good day. Mind you, I don't want to necessarily... One of the things with ADHD is we can become so laser hyper focused on a project that we forget to do things like eat, drink, whatever. I don't want to be like that, but I do want to be better focused on my work. Kind of like when I'm like doing these live streams, it seems that, you know, I'm doing really well. I'm making good progress and good time. Very few mistakes. That's not bad. You know, if I could have that on the regular, that would be pretty awesome. However, I can't imagine being live every single day would be good. Whew. So one of the things I have to stop doing is I like to sit in my chair and tuck my feet around behind me, and it's really having a kind of a detrimental feeling on the hip area of my legs. I need to stop doing that. Still says only 2 people out there. Oh, I don't know about in Britain, but it's another holiday weekend here. A 3-day weekend. Nope, not spiral. But yeah, I got a jump start on the Pillow 1 project, which is essentially the same thing as this. So I'm kind of already been knee deep in all of this kind of stuff already, so just doing this seems kind of easy. Yeah, I think it's tomorrow is the actual day of it's either Buddha's birthday or Buddha's Day of Enlightenment or whatever it is, makes it a holiday. But the actual holiday is on Sunday, so they're observing it on Monday for the day off. Yeah, I'm kind of digging on the fact that she's, you know, makes it to this Jubilee thing. That's pretty awesome. Like, you literally are going to be 100 years away from the possibility of that shit ever happening again. Like, just that alone suddenly makes that whole thing. I know it's a whole lot of taxpayer money, blah blah blah, but a lot of people have jobs putting together and doing this thing, so that's pretty dope. And the fact that it's just amazing. Like, she's lived a long, long life. It's pretty cool. I just had a disturbing thought. If she doesn't make it, will they do like a weekend at Bernie's? Have her in the carriage with two guys kind of helping holding her, like one kind of holding onto her elbow, making her hand do the little wave. Yeah. Yeah. Now you got me wondering who's the first U.S. president she's met. How far back? Yeah, that fucktard. Sorry. But damn, still. Grr. Yeah. I don't know. Trump, man, he's just the orange stain on American presidencies. All right. Well, that's the halfway point, right? Because we're 3 colors in, 3 more to go. Hey, Amaris. Welcome. All right, I'll go a little bit more just because Amaris made it here. Amaris, we still have secret word game going on, so yeah, you can try for that. Mind you, there's been no clues given because I think this time around it's way too easy. So Maris, what you missed out so far is that I've taken last week's single little bracelet over here and I'm doubling it. Cool beans. Oh, and we were talking about the Queen and how she's met so many of the U.S. presidents, but I'm kind of curious what was her first one. 27, still a youngin'. Yeah. Yeah, Trump was something else. I just seems so unfortunate for so many people. Someday, can you imagine? Someday there'll be history classes and they're going to have to talk about what happened and how America got its bigotry, whatever, woke up and people got really, really weird for a little while. It was difficult to be over here because people ask, oh, your accent, you're American? Yeah. Yeah. Or what was that horse deworming medication that people were taking? Or some of his followers thought Kennedy was coming back and going to meet up with them in Texas. Yeah. Yeah, again, so the the faded colors here really, at this point, it is so hard to see if I'm on the right track or not. I'm almost kind of going on a sense of feel at this point because this color kind of blends in with the next one so well. But I know that the previous color is completely done, so I have to go all the way to the very end to make sure that it covers that last one, so that one will become the dot at the bottom. Yeah, it just recently came out that Trump was asked number of people whether or not China had some form of a weapon where they were sending hurricanes to attack the United States. Like he was really convinced that they had it, and he didn't settle at just asking one person. He was going around making sure about this because he was convinced that China was causing the earthquakes and making him look, or not earthquakes, the hurricanes, and making him look bad in his presidency by hitting him with that. And that could they consider that an attack on a sovereign nation. Unreal. Is Mara still here? The counter went down again. Okay, kids, I think we are going to call it a night. Go get me some banana bread that Mandy was so nice enough to make today. Before I go, I do want to thank all my Patreon supporters who make all of this stuff actually possible. You know, without their donations, yeah, I'd have to rely strictly on bracelet sales to be able to come up with the strings to actually produce these videos. So thank you guys. You guys keep this thing going. So I will be back again next week with a much larger project than this, although we are still not calling it big, right? I don't know what we're going to call it. Pillow 1, I think that's it. Pillow 1 will be next week, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so good night, everyone, and as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.